Nope, 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 nope. Oh for 6. I didn't hit the Powerball on Saturday night. But as an FSU fan, if I would have hit the Powerball, this is what I would have done. Richie, my Powerball numbers did not hit the other night. I was hoping 1.6 was the number. It's up to 1.9 billion dollars at this point.
Jesus.
We one of us needs to make sure we hit this. Every time I walk into Publix, there's a line out the side of the building with people buying tickets right now. In fact, I had a return the other day, and I waited in the Powerball line for way too long. Didn't realize that that's what that was.
You would return something to Publix.
I just got the wrong. I got the wrong item. Like it was just like a wrong thing. But yeah, that's on me. Hey, if you're watching the video, hit like, hit subscribe, comment below with what you would do if you hit the 1.9 billion dollar Powerball. But Richie, let's get into this. My first one, the first thing that I would do if we hit the Powerball, we've had Michael Alford on. We've talked about this in the past. I would immediately set up FSU's endowment for roughly $150 million. Invest that. Boom. FSU scholarships are now endowed and paid for. For those that don't understand how that works, the idea of an endowment is you throw a lump sum into the bank or into an investment. The returns year after year after year after year are what pays the scholarships. That money never is touched because the lump sum has to be kept whole so that the investments can come in years that you have excess, pot grows. But that's basically what I would do first. We've had Alfred on. It would be really, really important. This would free up a lot of money for facilities and other things. But thoughts on my first one, Richie?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a no-brainer, right? Because all the big schools, Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, that all their scholarships are endowed already, right? Florida State's not one of those schools right now, and that does tie up a lot of money. So that you say, I think we're all pretty happy with Mike Norvell after last night. But if you did have to move on from him, if you want to go big game hunting, I think that frees up a lot of money to go get a big name coach. And that's a big deal when you have these scholarships endowed, like the Michigan, Georgia, et cetera, of the college football world.
Yeah, no, that'd be a really big one. Okay, we're doing these. I had number 5. You got number 4. What are you doing?
Yeah, man. Think of it, if you're taking a family of 4 to Doak Campbell Stadium, right? What is one thing you're trying to, TJ, you and I, we want to watch the game, right? We're just enjoying the game. But your kids, they need some entertainment on the sideline, right? They need Wi-Fi in the stadium. And I think for the student section, that's a huge deal. Getting Wi-Fi in Doak, not just Wi-Fi, but a reliable Wi-Fi, right? We've all been to stadiums where they have free Wi-Fi and it's terrible. No, a reliable Wi-Fi at Doak Campbell Stadium would be a huge deal. And it keeps the students in the stands for a lot longer in the game, unlike you saw those Miami fans yesterday.
Yeah, I think that just in this age of everything is social media, everything is technology, everything is marketing, you'd essentially have 80,000 people that in the stadium doing your marketing for you. You'd have stuff going viral from games. You'd have kids sharing stuff on TikTok and YouTube, what we're on now, and Instagram and everything else. And that's just more exposure. It's good for recruiting. It's good for marketing the college and the program and the university in general. I think that'd be a really, really good thing for FSU. I also think that you could monetize it. Say you come up with a system that encourages booster membership. Everyone has to log in, right, on any kind of a Wi-Fi. If you go up in the Champions Club, you just have to put your phone number in. They send you a text and you're able to log in. But what if you put in your email, and if you were a booster, you got it for free. If you weren't a booster, you had to pay $5 for Wi-Fi. Most people are going to pay that $5 anyway. Yeah. But if you don't want to pay $5 every single weekend that Florida State has a game, you sign up to be a booster, maybe Rising Spear or something like that. I think it's really important for the kids to be on social media. I think this could be something that pays FSU back by getting more people into the boosters. And it's just frustrating to be able to not be able to see what's going on at other games, see stuff from the media while you're watching the game there at Doak. I'm all for paying attention to the game, but I think you're spot on with number 4 with the Wi-Fi. All right, number 3. This is a big one and an obvious one, but you got to throw it in. we would certainly partner with Rising Spear a little bit more and do some pretty special NIL things. I think it'd be pretty similar to our number 5, the endowment for scholarships. I think you'd probably have an annual and an endowment for recruiting classes. I mean, we know what this is, right? Like we don't have to sugarcoat here. You'd have an endowment for what you were going to be paying your athletes in all sports really per year, right? And so you'd put a budget together. If you need to take $100 million and throw that in the bank so that year over year can return you enough profit to take care of the athletes, I mean, you do it. Obviously, football is going to get a large chunk, but you can take care of a lot of other athletes and a lot of other sports and just know that reliable income is going to be there so you can sign every athlete on FSU's campus that's eligible for NIL. And I think that'd be really, really big for the NIL side of things, just like we do for the scholarships. I think we try and get them taken care of on the name, image, and likeness side. So thoughts around the NIL one?
Yeah, and I think it's a no-brainer, right? Just like the first two, you have to have money for the name, image, and likeness to recruit against Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, you name it. And Texas A&M, they're a perfect example that money cannot buy wins, right? We've seen that. Florida just destroyed them. Granted, half of the Aggies team was out with the flu. But yeah, it puts you on even footing with all the other elite schools you're trying to compete with. And that's the biggest thing. If you can compete with those guys, if Mike Norvell can go up against Nick Saban and money's not an issue, obviously Saban is going to win more of those battles than not. Maybe not after yesterday. Shout out LSU. Great win for Florida State week 1. But at the same time, you'd never want to lose a kid because you cannot compete financially. And this would erase that entirely.
Yeah. So we've probably spent $300 or $400 million. We've got a lot of money left, right? We don't have to blow the entire thing, but we've probably got. Well, we talked about you'd take taxes and there's a penalty. We probably spent about half of what we would actually get. We're keeping the full $2 billion here. Like if we're gonna deal in fantasies, we're not giving any money to the government in our fantasy. But NIL would definitely be a big one. Okay, what do you got for number 2?
Yeah, man. Number 2, I think you look at the staff. Where can you make upgrades? And we don't need to name anyone individually. I think after yesterday, I think we're all pretty happy with everybody we have, but it's clear that we could use some upgrades on the staff. My opinion, mainly recruiting, which goes back to our last point of NIL. If you have that money to spend and you have the recruiters, that's a huge deal. Jimbo's first staff at Florida State was full of recruiters. He didn't care about coaching. He cared about getting players, and that was a big deal, and it worked out for Florida State really well. So that's kind of where I'm at. I would make some changes. I don't need to name names, but I definitely think if you have an unlimited budget, if you could pay, $2 million for a coordinator, you do it. Because let's be honest, Alex Atkins, every Florida State fan loves him. He's probably our favorite assistant on staff. He's not going to be here much longer. He's going to get a head coaching job very soon, probably in a Power 5 conference. So, yeah, I set some money aside for the staff.
Yeah, and you could set this stuff up as being pretty long-term, right? So yeah. I'm not going to pretend to know what the highest paid staff in America is right now. But if you're able to set aside X number of dollars that returned you a pretty good rate on an annual basis, you could set up FSU to have a pretty nice staff year over year. And so maybe you throw another $100 million in the pot to be able to cut into some of that. And not just from a 10 on the field coaches perspective or on the road recruiting coaches. I mean, you look at what other teams have done, like Florida and Alabama, with just hiring a ton of assistants and a ton of just personnel and analysts. You could really build that out to be something pretty spectacular. Little shout out to the social media guys. We'd upgrade everything there in the graphics department as well. Okay, last one that I've got, Richie, and this is going to be a full video on its own, so I'm not going to go as deep into this one, but would love to hear your thoughts. Again, if you're watching, make sure you're subscribed, like the video, and comment below with your thoughts. We talked about investing for scholarship endowments. We talked about Wi-Fi at Doak, NIL, of course, some staff upgrades. And then the last one, I'm getting us out of this conference. We're out of the ACC in like 2 or 3 weeks. And we're not going alone. It's going to take a lot of money to be able to do this. We're going to have to pay some other teams to get them out of here, to get our number up. I'm gonna dive into a lot of that and go way deeper with it in another video. But yeah, we're leaving the ACC. But Richie, I got to ask, where are we going? SEC, Big Ten. What do you want?
I would think the SEC is the more natural fit, but I would love the Big Ten. I just love the Big Ten. I would love to be able to go to Ohio State, Michigan, those schools. That would be ideal for me. SEC, obviously, much more geographically friendly for Florida State, and I would love that as well. Either way, like you said, TJ, we're getting the hell out of the ACC, and we're not spending any time. We will pay the grant of rights, just like Maryland did back in, what was that, 2014, 2015. Good for Maryland. Hope Florida State, hope Michael Alford, hope Richard McCollum does the same thing.
Yeah, we're out, and put it on my tab, man. I'll pick it up. I'll pick up the check on the way out. So, well, Richie, thanks for hanging out. This is what we would do if we hit the Powerball. Make sure you play this week so that, I mean, yeah, we follow up on this video. Hey, if we hit the Powerball, we're never following up on this video, by the way. Like,
I'm gone.
There will be no part 2. This will be the last video that you ever see of us. So, thank you guys for tuning in. TJ Pinger, Richie Barnes. Make sure you're subscribed. Comment below what you would do, how you would help out FSU if you won just about $2 billion in the Powerball.
Jesus.
And thumbs up on the video. Like it helps tremendously. I've also heard if you like the video, your odds of winning the Powerball increase exponentially. So good luck if you play, and excited for the last few weeks of FSU football that we've got ahead of us. Thank you guys for hanging out. Go Noles.